welcome back to my channel. My name is Mahum and I help you crochet things you'll love. Please don't skip this part of the video because I'm going to go over materials, important things to know before you start following this tutorial, as well as address any questions that you might have later on. As with most of my tutorials, you're free to use any yarn and hook size, but then the yarn and hook size that you do use will determine the size of your plushie. So if you use a really thick yarn with a larger hook size, your plushie might not be mini anymore, it might turn into something larger. But the pattern itself is very small, so you can use any fluffy yarn or acrylic yarn with a 4, 4.5 or 5mm hook and your plushie will still be miniature, so I don't think it would be bigger than maybe your palm or your hand. So if you want to make a plushie that's even smaller than the one that I have, then you can just use a really thin yarn. It's going to be even smaller. Before we get into the tutorial, I have some very exciting news to share. First, that this video is very kindly sponsored by Skillshare, and second, that I've launched 2 new classes on Skillshare. This class shows you how to crochet a personalized sweater for a plushie or stuffed animal of your choice. For the class project, I show you how to crochet and sew together a made-to-measure sweater and design it with surface crochet, which is perfect for getting your plushie or stuffed animal ready for fall, winter, or the cooler seasons. This class explores the classic and versatile technique of crocheting granny squares and the process of crafting a unique handbag. For the class project, I walk you through each step from designing the color scheme of your handbag to understanding the layout. I'm really excited to teach you through a learn by doing approach where you can share your project after completing the class and get feedback from me and my community. These classes are also really special to me because I've been taking classes myself on Skillshare on sewing, Notion, and advancing my crochet skills. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives with thousands of classes led by industry experts across film, illustration, design, freelance, productivity, and lots more. Skillshare can help you take your career, skills, hobbies, passions, or side hustles to the next level. This is one of my favorite learning paths and I highly recommend giving it a try. It's perfect for learning how to sew from scratch and creating your own garments along the way. The best part is that the first 500 people to use my link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare, which includes access to my new classes as well as all the other classes on Skillshare. So let's get started today. Going back into the materials, here's what you'll need if you want to turn your mini plushies into mini bag charms or keychains. First of all, you'll need a key ring. This can be just like a regular keychain. You can find it on Amazon or any craft store. And you can find these cute heart ones too. I think they're adorable, but even if you don't find a heart one, a regular one will still be really cute. And then you're also going to need key rings. You don't need a key ring because you can still use the yarn to attach the hole onto the top of your plushie, but I would recommend getting key rings just because they make things a little bit easier. So key rings are just like these little circles, and what I like to do is just open them up like that and place them at the top of my plushie. So I'm going to take this and insert it through a stitch at the top. Once I've got it through the stitch at the top like that, I'm going to take the other key rings and the keychain, just put it on, and then I'm going to squeeze this shut, which is usually the hardest part, especially because my nails are a little bit grown out. But just squeeze it closed, and that's how easy it is to turn your charm into a keychain. I wanted to show this before just so that you can decide whether you even want to do this and get the materials if you don't have them. But even if you don't turn your mini plushies into a keychain, they're still going to be really cute as little presents or little charms. Let's start by making the head. So when I'm working with fluffy channel yarn, it usually comes off like this, so I don't start with a magic ring. So I'm going to just start with a regular slip knot, and then I'm going to show you how to make like a fake magic ring. And this will work for any yarn that you're using. So just wrap the yarn around your fingers, grab your hook, and pull the yarn through and tighten to make a slip knot. After that, go ahead and chain 3. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Now I want you to insert your hook into the very first chain that you made. So go into it right there and slip stitch. So yarn over and pull that yarn through all of the loops that are on your hook like that. So I know you can't see it, but there's going to be a little hole formed in between the chains right over there where my nail is poking through, and that is where we're going to insert all of our stitches into the hole. So chain 1 to start a new round, and then completely ignore this chain because it doesn't count as a stitch. Insert your hook into that hole that I just showed you, and we're going to make our very first single crochet like that. Now go ahead and get your stitch marker and mark this very first single crochet of round 1. Now go ahead and insert 5 more single crochets into this fake magic ring. So go back into that circle, do your second single crochet, go back into the circle, do your third, and keep going until you have a total of 6 single crochets for round 1. Once you have 6 single crochets, you're all done with round 1. Now for round 2, we're going to start by inserting our hook into that marked stitch, so the very first single crochet we made at the beginning. So go ahead and insert your hook into that stitch, and then you can remove your stitch marker. Now we're going to make our very first single crochet of round 2, just like that. Go ahead and take your stitch marker and place it back into that same stitch. So you always have to mark the very first single crochet of each round. Now for round 2, our pattern is going to be 2 single crochets in every stitch. So that basically means that in one stitch, you're going to insert 2 single crochets. In the next stitch, you're also going to insert 2 single crochets. So we already did 1 single crochet into that first stitch. So go back into the same stitch and do another single crochet. So this is going to bring your stitch count up to 12. That's 1, go back into that same stitch, and 2. Now we're going to work into the next stitch. Do 1 single crochet, then go back into that same stitch and do your second single crochet, and you're going to do this all the way around. Make sure that you have a total of 12 single crochets at the end of round 2. So the way that I like to work with fluffy chenille yarn is just use a smaller hook size so that my stitches are tighter and I can see them very clearly. So this little bump over here, that's 1 stitch, another bump, another stitch, and so on, so I can easily count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. The next pattern is going to be 1 single crochet and then an increase. An increase is basically when you do 2 single crochets in the same stitch, just like what we did for round 2. So start by inserting your hook into the marked stitch, and then go ahead and crochet 1 single crochet. That is going to be your very first single crochet of round 3, so go ahead and mark it back with the stitch marker. Now we're going to work into the next stitch and we're going to do an increase. So that means that you're going to insert 2 single crochets into the next stitch. And that's the pattern you're going to repeat. So in the next stitch, you're going to do 1 single crochet, and in the next stitch, you're going to do 2 single crochets in the same stitch, like that, and repeat all the way around. So 1 single crochet, and then in the next stitch, an increase. Now your stitch count is going to go up to 18. Now we're done with the top of the head. The next part is going to be pretty easy, so that means from round 4 till round 7, so round 4, 5, 6, and 7, you're just going to do 1 single crochet in every stitch. So start by inserting your hook into the marked stitch. Do your first single crochet of round 4. Go ahead and mark it. Now just do 1 single crochet in every stitch, so your stitch count will remain 18. Make sure you're not accidentally skipping any or accidentally doing an increase. Just 1 single crochet in every stitch. So I just look at the bump, I insert my hook under, and once I've grabbed both the loops of the stitch, I go ahead and do my single crochet. So here's another closer look at how I'm doing that. Just go ahead and do 1 single crochet in every stitch all the way around to complete round 4. Next, we're going to start round 5, so repeat the same steps that you did for round 4. Go into the marked stitch and single crochet, then place your marker back into that marked stitch, the very first one. Now go ahead and do 1 single crochet into every stitch again. After you complete round 5, go ahead and do round 6 and 7 with the same exact steps, and then I'll meet you back here once I'm done with round 7. Once you're done, this is what you should have. Now, if your work looks like this, all you have to do is just push it down, and when you add stuffing, you can adjust the shape of it. I always get comments about how your pieces don't look like mine. I just adjust them. I mean, you can make it look however you want. Like if you want a more oval head, you can do that, but if you want something a bit more round, just push it down like that. Now we're going to be starting round 8, and in round 8 we're going to have decreases. So we're going to do 1 single crochet and then a decrease. So insert your hook into the first stitch and just do 1 single crochet like normal to start the round. Then don't forget to mark it with a stitch marker. So a decrease basically means joining the next 2 stitches together. So usually a stitch has 2 loops. That's 1 loop and that's the second loop. So it's got 2 separate loops. When you're doing a decrease, you're not going to go through the stitch. You're just going to grab onto the front loop, just one of them. Push your hook down and grab onto just 1 loop, the front loop of the next stitch as well, like that. So you should have 3 loops on your hook. Then yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops, and that's how you do a decrease. Go and single crochet into the next stitch, and then you have to do another decrease. So grab onto the front loop, grab onto the next front loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 to make a decrease, and repeat this all the way around. So you're just going to do 1 single crochet, and then you're going to do a decrease and repeat all the way around. Once you're done, you're going to notice that this part is getting a little bit smaller at the bottom. Now for our last round, we're just going to do decreases, so you're not going to have any single crochets at all. So starting from the very first stitch, the one that was marked, you're going to make your first decrease. So grab onto the front loop, and then grab onto the front loop of the next stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That is going to be your very first decrease, so don't forget to mark it because it still counts as the first stitch of your next round. Now just go ahead and decrease all the way around. So that means you're going to do 6 decreases, and then you should have reached the end of your round. So keep count and grab onto only the front loops to invisible decrease. Once you reach the end of the round, remove your stitch marker and you're going to slip stitch into this marked stitch. So go into that stitch where the stitch marker was, pull up a loop, and then slide that same loop through the one that's already on your hook. And that's going to be your slip stitch. Now I'm going to leave a slightly long tail for sewing in later, and then I'm going to pull very gently because I don't want the yarn to shed. And there we go, we're all done with the head. Now you can just fluff it up, adjust it until it looks good. Next, we're going to attach our safety eyes. Now please don't ask me what size these are because I don't know. I just have a box with random safety eyes in it, but I placed them on the, I think that's the 5th round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I placed them right between the 5th round, and there's like 3 stitches in between them. Next, I'm going to show you how to embroider the nose. So I'm going to do it right in the middle. I've just got my needle here. I'm just going to go through that stitch, and I think I'm going to come out here. Would that be too thick? This is why I don't like to show the sewing part, because on average it takes me around 30 minutes to get the face that I like, and I redo it so many times. But I got a few complaints about it, so that's why I'm giving it a go today and hoping that I get it right on the first try. So I just pull the needle out. Why are my eyes just sinking? And then I'm gonna go back through the same place and pull. I'm gonna do this like 3 more times. I think 1 more, or actually no. Where have my eyes gone? I don't know what's happening, but I'm just gonna go down. So I went into the nose again like that. I'm gonna go back in and I'm gonna come right through the middle. I think that's the middle, and pull it out. Just making sure not to accidentally sew this in as well. I'm gonna pull it, make it a little bit tighter, and then I'm just gonna bring it up and try to go through the middle of the nose. Okay, I think I got it. I'm probably gonna redo this later though. Okay, right, so that's basically how you do it. Next, I attach the needle to the yarn that's on this side. I'm gonna go and hide it in the back. So just pull it through like that. And that's how I'm gonna complete the nose. Next, we're going to make the legs, and then we're going to make the body. So to start the legs, go ahead and repeat the same thing that you did for round 1 of the head. So make your slip knot, chain 3, and then insert 6 single crochets into that fake magic ring. Once you're done with round 1, round 2 is going to be a little bit different. So you're going to start by inserting 1 single crochet into the marked stitch. So we're starting a round just like before. Now for round 2, you have to do 1 single crochet and then an increase in the next stitch. So we did 1 single crochet. Now in the next stitch, we have to insert an increase, which is basically 2 single crochets in the same stitch. So that's 1. I'm going to go back into that same stitch and 2. Now you're going to repeat this all the way around. So you're going to do 1 single crochet, and then in the next stitch, you're going to do an increase and repeat. And now for round 3 and 4, you're just going to do 1 single crochet in every stitch. So 1 single crochet into the marked stitch to start round 3, and then 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way around to complete round 3. Once you're done with round 3, we're going to fasten off the first leg. So insert your hook into the marked stitch and slip stitch by sliding the yarn through both the loops on your hook. Just leave a little bit of a tail so you can work over it later. Pull, and now you've made the first leg. Now you're going to repeat the same steps from round 1 to 3 to make the second leg, but don't fasten that one off. Once you're done making the second leg, we are going to join the first and second leg together. So the body is going to look something like this. So they're going to get joined together, and then it's going to turn into one round. So both the legs will be one round all together of 18 stitches. So to do this, remove your stitch marker, then insert your hook into the stitch where the marker was, and then go ahead and insert your hook into the stitch where you slip stitched on the second leg. So remember where you ended your work, go into that stitch, and then you're going to pull up a loop. So hold this leg straight, pull up a loop, go through the second leg, and then go through the first leg as well. And you should have 2 loops left on your hook like this. Once that's done, you're going to yarn over and pull through those 2 loops, and that is going to be your very first single crochet of round 4 for the body. Now we're going to be working onto the first leg. So that's 1 stitch. Go ahead and keep count, and you should have 9 stitches around the first leg. You're just going to do 1 single crochet in every stitch. So that's my second stitch, third, fourth. Now that I've got 9 stitches, I'm going to work into the second leg. So that's going to be my first stitch over here. Now again, I'm going to count 9. So that's 1, 2, 3. I'm just going all around the second leg until I have 9 stitches. And if your stitch count is off, don't worry, just put an extra stitch into any one of the stitches, because sometimes you can accidentally miss them, so it's fine. And there you go, you should be all done with round 4 once you come back to where your marker is. Now for round 5 and 6, you're just going to do 1 single crochet in every stitch. So that's your first single crochet. Once again, repeat the same steps. So place your marker through it to mark the end and beginning of your next round. Now just go ahead and do 1 single crochet in every stitch all the way around. So now you're not going to be working into the legs, you're working into the round that you made on top of them. So you're just going to go all the way around here. When you're done with round 6, we're going to decrease a little bit for round 7. So the pattern is going to be 1 single crochet and then a decrease. So go ahead and do your very first single crochet and mark it, of course. Next, you're going to do a decrease. So grab onto the front 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, then repeat the pattern all the way around. So 1 single crochet and then a decrease, then 1 single crochet and a decrease again. Now for round 8, we're going to do 1 single crochet in every stitch. So the same exact thing as before, make sure your marker is on there, make sure you're not accidentally skipping a stitch, and just go ahead and crochet 1 single crochet in every stitch. Now that you know how the pattern works, you can continue along and make the other pieces with the written pattern as well. Quick reminder that it is in the video's description. All you have to do is scroll down and you'll see the text below this video. And you'll find the pattern right next to the text that says written pattern. When you're done with that, we're just going to do decreases in the next round. So there's going to be no more single crochets. So the very first stitch is going to be a decrease, and then all of the stitches after that will also be a decrease. But you still have to place your stitch marker, don't forget to do that. Now go ahead and just decrease all the way around until you come to the end of this round. So remember, no single crochets at all, just decreases all the way around. When you're done, we're going to fasten off, so remove your stitch marker and insert your hook into the marked stitch, slip stitch to end around, and then you can cut your yarn. And there you go, you're all done with the body. Now for the next part, please don't get mad at me, but I'm not going to show you any demonstrations round by round. You're just going to follow the pattern, and you'll have the arms and the hands, the ears and the hands. You'll see. but I'm not showing you the demonstration round by round because the steps are very, very repetitive. You already know how to crochet it by watching the other demonstrations. You've got this. I believe in you. This video is not just showing you how to crochet the mini plushie, it's also showing you how to crochet along with amigurumi patterns. So next time when you come back to my channel to crochet a plushie, you'll already know how it works. You won't even need to waste your time in the video. You can directly just go to my written pattern and crochet it. I'll go ahead and crochet the ears and the arms by looking at the written pattern. So once again, if you scroll down, you'll find text below this video, and over there you can find the written pattern next to the text that says written pattern. So it's going to be a link to my blog. Now the ears are the similar steps to the legs, so round 1 and 2 starts off just like the legs, and then after that you just have to do rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch, and then you have that last round of decreases at the end, then you can fasten off. For the arms, it's the same thing as the top section of the heart, it's just 3 rounds instead of 2, and then you can fasten off so you'll have these cute little arms. If you want to make them longer, just do more rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch. If you want longer ears, do the same thing, just do more rounds. Now I'm going to show you a few demonstrations of how to sew all the different pieces together. A lot of sewing is basically on your own instinct and what looks good for your plushie, because we all have different stitch tensions and different placements that we want. So here's the order that I would recommend you sew in. So first join the head to the body, and then the ears to the head, and then the arms to the head, and then of course if you have your heart or if you have your hat at the end. Whatever piece you're joining, first you're going to attach it to your needle with a knot, and then you have to make sure that you line up your work to where the joining starts. So I'm joining the head to the body, so I'm just going to tuck this extra piece of yarn in. Now I'm going to line up the head to where the body is, take my needle, and then insert it through the stitch that aligns to where I want to join, and go through the stitch on the head as well, and then pull. And that's a step that I'm going to repeat all the way around. So first I'm going to go through a stitch in the body, then a stitch in the head, making sure that I grab onto both of the loops, and then pull. This is what's going to sew the head and the body together, and I'm going to do this all the way around. So it's just a basic sewing stitch. I'm not doing anything special, just going through the stitches and joining them. Once I've come all the way around, I just take the needle and I poke it through the body and I pull it all the way through, making it nice and tight until I like the placement of it. When you're sewing the ears onto the head, you have to hold it in place to see where you'd like the ear to be. It could be a little bit back, it could be a little bit front, but you're just going to hold it in place, and then you're going to slide your needle through the stitches as well as the stitches on the ear, like that, and then you're going to pull and repeat, and that's how you can sew the ears onto the top of the head. To make the heart, it's going to be very similar steps to what we did for the legs and the body. So first you have to make 2 sections for the top of the heart. So go ahead and open up the written pattern for reference. Make the first piece. I'm going to show you really quickly how to do this. So you're going to start the piece just like how you started every other piece, with a slip knot and then chain 3. Then go ahead and slip stitch into the first chain to make your fake magic circle, chain 1. Now go ahead and insert 6 single crochets into the circle formed in between your chains, and that is going to be round 1, but please don't forget to use your stitch marker and mark the very first single crochet. So now I'm going to do 5 more single crochets to make a total of 6 for round 1. Now for round 2, you're just going to do 1 single crochet in every stitch, so your stitch count is going to remain 6. Just 1 single crochet in every stitch. Don't do any increases, don't do any decreases, just 1 single crochet. Once you're done, I would recommend that you flip this inside out so that you can see the bump of the heart, so that it becomes pointy like that. Next, you're going to insert your hook into the marked stitch. So go into it like that, and then insert your hook into the stitch where you slip stitch to end the round, and then pull the yarn through the first piece, then pull your yarn through the second piece, and you should have 2 loops left on your hook. Yarn over, pull through both of them, and that's going to be your very first single crochet for round 3. Now just like what we did for the rounds for the body, we're just going to single crochet all the way around the hearts, and this time each piece for the heart, so you should have 6 stitches here, 6 stitches here, so in total round 3 will have 12 stitches. So I'm going to start by inserting my hook into the next stitch, and I'm going to keep count. So I already did 1, so this is 2 and 3. Remember, it's just 1 single crochet in every stitch. 4. Once you're done with that, this is what your heart should look like. Now for round 4, once again, you're just going to do 1 single crochet in every stitch just to build some length for the heart, and then we're just going to decrease and you will be all done. So now go ahead and follow the rest of the pattern to complete the heart. For round 5, I did decreases and then I have 1 stitch left, so I'm just going to decrease this stitch and the marked stitch as well. And now I think we're going to be done with the heart, so I'm just going to go through it very randomly like that, and I'm just going to slip stitch through the 2 stitches that I went through like that, and that is going to end my heart. I forgot to add stuffing, but my yarn is pretty plush, so I don't think I need it anyway. But if you want, you could have added stuffing and then you could have done that very last step. Just go ahead and cut your yarn, tighten to secure, and then I'm just going to insert my hook through, and instead of weaving it in, I'm just going to pull this end through with my hook, tighten it a little bit, and then cut the extra off. So you don't need your needle for that, you can just do it with your hook. For the hands, what I'm going to do is just place it in the corner right over there, and then I'm going to sew all the way around, connecting the arms into the stitches off the body, and that's how I'm going to sew that on. And if you made a heart, then you can just sew the heart in the middle as well. So to attach the heart, first I'm going to sew on the arms, and then I'm going to attach the side of the heart to the arms with just a knot with my needle. So to make the hat, you're going to repeat the same steps as you did for the head from round 1 to 6. So you can rewatch the part where I showed you how to crochet the head and follow the steps from round 1 to 6. Remember, it's the same exact steps, and then your hat should pop onto the head like this. So once you've got this little bowling ball hat thing, I'm going to show you how to make the ruffly part. So we're just going to be crocheting 2 single crochets into every stitch to make the hat go outwards and to make it flare and ruffle up a little bit. So we're not going to be working through both the loops of the stitch. We're only going to be working through the front loop, just like how we do for the decreases. And you're going to insert 2 single crochets into the front loop. Oh, and don't forget to mark the very first single crochet that you made, of course. So there's going to be 2 single crochets in the same loop. Now go into the next loop. Make sure you're only grabbing the front loop and not the full stitch. If you grab the full stitch, then you're not going to get the hat going outwards. Instead, it's just going to keep going down. So because we want the hat to go outwards, that's why we're only working into the front loops. And that's just about it. So go ahead and insert your hook into the front loops of every stitch, and then do 2 single crochets in each of them, and you're already going to start to notice that your hat is going outwards like this. So go ahead and do this all the way around. Once you're done with that, this is what your hat should look like. And now for the next few rounds, it's completely up to you how long you want the trim of the hat to be, so you can keep crocheting rounds if you want it to be longer. But now you're just going to insert your hook through both of the loops like normal, and crochet 1 single crochet into every stitch. So this is going to be tricky because now you have so many stitches to work into. Make sure you're not accidentally skipping any of them, and remember that you have to go through both of the loops now. So go ahead and crochet as many rounds as you want of just 1 single crochet in every stitch until the hat is the perfect size. Once you're done, insert your hook into the marked stitch and slip stitch. Then you can just fasten off your work and you're all done with the hat. Next, you can make some ties for it, and I'm going to show you how. So basically, you have to attach the yarn in this corner and then repeat the same steps to attach it on the other corner as well. So I'm just going to insert my hook and grab onto any stitch randomly like this, and then take my yarn and slide it through like that. And I'm going to leave a bit of a string so I can weave this in later, and then I'm just going to tie a double knot to secure it in place. There are many other ways to do this, and I'm sure there's an easier way as well. I just prefer this because I'm able to control exactly how long the piece is going to be. And then I'm just going to cut like maybe a whole hand string, so it's as long as my full hand there, and I can trim it in later. So now what I'm going to do with this is just hide it within the hat. So I'm just going to insert my hook randomly through these stitches And then once I've got my hook through a few stitches, I'm going to take the yarn and slide it through. So basically I'm just weaving it in to hide it. And then I'm just gonna cut the extra. And there, that's how you can make a tie, so that when you have your bunny's head inside, like this, you can tie a bow at the bottom. So I'm going to repeat the same step on the other side as well. Once you're done with the ties, we're going to make the little bear ears at the top. You can, of course, just crochet the bunny ears and sew them on so it will be a bunny. But I think I'm going to turn this into a little bear. So make a little loop with your yarn and insert your hook through the corner and slide that loop through. Then go ahead and chain one just to secure it in place and tighten. Then go back into that same loop and do 1 single crochet to start the ear like that, and then go into the stitch that's next to it. So you might need your finger for this to see where you're going, like that, and then go ahead and do 2 single crochets into the stitch that you just went into. So you have to do 2 over there just to build a little bit of that puffiness. And then once you're done, you're just going to take your scissor and cut the yarn, pull and tighten to secure it, puff it out a little bit more like that, and then you can insert your hook from under, grab onto the yarn from the inside, and then slide the yarn through that stitch to the back side so that you can hide it or weave it in later. And that's how you're going to make your little hat. After you're done with all of the sewing, here's what your plushies should kind of look like. Yours will of course look different because of how you sewed your plushies on. The last few steps are just to tie some bows. So I took the strings that were at the end and I tied them into a bow over here, and now I'm going to show you how to tie a bow in case you don't know for the ears of the bunny over here. So for that, you're just going to need a slightly long string of the yarn that you want to use. Oh, and before I forget, if you want to see how to turn your mini plushies into keychains, I have put this in the material section of the video just because I wanted to be sure that you guys knew what materials you'll need if you wanted to do this. So to tie a bow, take your yarn and just push it under the ears. And then once you've got it through, you're just going to tie a bow. So basically make 2 loops and wrap them around each other, bunny ears. Take one of the loops under and pull it out like this, and you'll have like a very rough bow. And now you can just adjust it to make it look pretty by pulling on the ends like that. And then once you feel like your bow looks good, you can just trim the ends like I did for this one, and you're all done.